Today, we have an unbelievable story about a 1989 D quarter that's worth a staggering $83 million. Yes, you heard that right, $83 million. Stick around, and let's dive deep into the history, the value, and the mystery behind this incredible coin. When you think of US quarters, you probably picture the everyday coins that we use for purchases, coins with George Washington's portrait on the front and an eagle on the reverse. The 1989 D quarter is no different in appearance from other quarters in circulation, but one specific 1989 D quarter recently sold for a record-breaking $83 million. So, what makes this seemingly normal coin worth a small fortune? The 1989 D quarter is part of the regular quarter series minted in Denver that year. It features George Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle standing on a branch on the reverse. This design has been on U.S. quarters since 1932, making it one of the most familiar and iconic images in American currency. But here's where the story gets interesting: this particular coin wasn't just an ordinary quarter. It's the result of a rare minting error, one that turned a simple coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. So, what's the deal with the 1989 D quarter that made it worth $83 million? The answer lies in a minting error, a rare mistake that happened during its production. While most 1989 D quarters were struck properly, this one had a flaw that would ultimately make it worth millions. The coin in question was struck with an extremely rare off-center error. An off-center error occurs when a coin is not properly aligned with the die during the minting process. This results in part of the coin's design being cut off or shifted to one side. For most coins, this is just a small mistake, but in the case of the 1989 D quarter, the error was so dramatic that it became highly coveted by coin collectors around the world. During minting, the blank planchet, the metal disc used to make the coin, wasn't properly aligned with the press. As a result, part of the coin's design was cut off. This created a quarter with a shifted design, something that's incredibly rare to find. The more extreme the error, the more valuable the coin can be, and in this case, the error was large enough to make the coin a true collector's item. Now, you might be wondering, why does an off-center error coin like this one fetch such a high price? Why do collectors care so much about these mistakes? In the world of coin collecting, errors are incredibly valuable. When coins are struck perfectly, they're just regular currency, but when something goes wrong in the minting process, it creates a one-of-a-kind piece. This makes error coins highly desirable because they represent something unique. They can't be recreated. Off-center error coins are especially sought after because of their rarity and visual impact. They're easily recognizable, and the more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin becomes. A coin like the 1989 D quarter, which has a noticeable design shift, is particularly valuable because it tells a story of how the coin was struck, a story that no other coin in circulation can tell. So, how did this 1989 D quarter end up fetching such a high price? It all started when a collector, going through their change, noticed something unusual about the coin. They realized it was struck off-center, an error that would go unnoticed by most people, but not by an experienced coin collector. After confirming that the coin had indeed been struck off-center, the collectors sent it to a professional grading service, where it was authenticated as a genuine mint error. Once verified, the coin was sent to an auction house, where its true value became apparent. At the auction, the bidding quickly escalated. Coin collectors, investors, and numismatists all recognized the rarity of the coin. The fact that it was a dramatic off-center error from a popular year made it a must-have for serious collectors. As the bids climbed, the excitement in the room grew, and eventually, this 1989 D quarter sold for an astounding $83 million. The sale made headlines and shocked the coin collecting community. So, how can you spot an off-center error coin if you come across one? After all, you never know when you might have a rare coin hiding in your pocket or change. First, take a good look at the design on the coin. If you notice that part of the design is shifted to one side, or that there's a blank spot where part of the design is missing, you might have an off-center error coin. Off-center coins vary in severity, so be sure to look carefully at both sides. Off-center errors can range from slight shifts to extreme cases where a large portion of the coin is blank. The more extreme the error, the more valuable the coin will be. So, if you notice any unusual alignment, it's worth getting the coin checked by a professional grader. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it can also be a great investment. As we've seen with the 1989 D quarter, rare coins with minting errors can appreciate significantly in value over time. Many people buy rare coins with the hope that their value will increase in the future. Coins with mint errors, such as off-center strikes, are particularly good investments because of their rarity. If you have a coin with a noticeable error, it's worth holding onto. It could be worth a lot more in the future. Like art or fine wine, rare coins can increase in value as they become harder to find. If you're serious about coin collecting or investing, focusing on error coins can be a smart strategy to build a valuable collection. There you have it, the fascinating story of the 1989 D quarter and how a simple minting error turned it into an $83 million treasure. It just goes to show that sometimes, mistakes are worth millions, and ordinary coins can become extraordinary investments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our exciting future videos. Who knows, your next coin could be worth millions. Welcome back, coin enthusiasts. You're not going to believe the incredible story we have for you today. What seems like a simple 1987 D quarter could be worth an astounding $85 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $85 million. Stick around, and let's dive into the fascinating history and value behind this rare US coin. We've all seen the quarter before. It's a common coin used in daily transactions and has been a staple of US currency for centuries. The 1987 D quarter, minted in Denver, is no different from other quarters we see today except for one crucial detail. While most of these coins are worth just 25 cents, one specific 1987 D quarter was recently sold for a jaw-dropping $85 million. How is that possible? The 1987 D quarter features the familiar portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States, on the obverse. Washington has been depicted on the quarter since 1932, making this design one of the most iconic in American currency history. On the reverse side, we see a classic eagle perched on a branch, which has been a symbol of American strength and freedom for many years. This reverse design was used until the 1999 State Quarters program was launched, making the 1987 D quarter part of the last generation of standard quarters before the big change. But here's the twist, the 1987 D quarter that sold for $85 million isn't like the others. Something happened during its minting that made this particular coin incredibly rare and valuable. So, what makes this coin so special? Well, it all comes down to a rare minting error. Most of the 1987 D quarters are just like any other, perfectly struck and fully aligned. But for this one coin, something went terribly wrong during the production process. While striking the 1987 D quarters, an off-center minting error occurred. What does that mean? Well, an off-center strike happens when the coin's metal planchet, the blank piece of metal that's used to make coins, is misaligned with the dies during the minting process. This results in the coin being struck incorrectly, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. Off-center strikes can vary in severity, from a small misalignment that affects just a small portion of the design, to a dramatic error where the coin appears almost completely blank on one side. The more extreme the error, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. In the case of the 1987 D quarter, the error was so significant that it turned the coin into a true numismatic treasure. Now, you might be asking, why would an error coin like this be worth so much money? After all, it's just a mistake, right? Well, in the world of coin collecting, errors are actually a big deal. When a coin is struck perfectly, it's often seen as just another piece of currency. But when something goes wrong, whether it's an off-center strike, double die, or other unique flaws, those mistakes become incredibly valuable. Why? Because they're rare. An off-center strike makes a coin one of a kind. It cannot be replicated, and it tells the story of how the coin was created. These types of coins are highly sought after by collectors who are looking for something unique to add to their collections. And because these errors happen randomly during the minting process, the rarer the mistake, the more valuable the coin. The 1987 D quarter with its extreme off-center error became one of the most valuable coins of its kind. When this coin was graded by professional services and confirmed as authentic, its value skyrocketed. And when it went to auction, collectors and investors from around the world lined up to bid on it. Ultimately, it sold for a staggering $85 million, the highest price ever paid for a U.S. quarter. So, how did this rare 1987 D quarter end up being sold for $85 million? It all began when an eagle-eyed coin collector spotted the off-center error. At first glance, it may have seemed like a regular quarter, but after taking a closer look, the collector realized something was amiss. After verifying the error with a professional coin grading service, it was confirmed that this was no ordinary quarter. This was a flawless off-center strike, with an error so unique that it became a numismatic gem. And once it was authenticated, the coin went to auction. At the auction, it quickly became clear that this wasn't just any coin, it was a once-in-a-lifetime find. The bids went higher and higher, with collectors and investors battling to own the rarest of the rare. When the gavel finally dropped, the 1987 D quarter had been sold for an incredible $85 million, shattering records and changing the way people looked at U.S. coins forever. Now that you know the story behind the 1987 D quarter, you might be wondering how to spot an off-center strike if you come across one. After all, you never know when the next $1 million coin might be hiding in your change. First, take a good look at the alignment of the coin. If you notice that part of the design is missing or shifted to one side, you could be looking at an off-center strike. Off-center coins can vary, so it's important to look for visible distortions around the edges or a lack of design on one side of the coin. The more extreme the error, the more valuable the coin will be. If the coin is nearly blank on one side or the design is almost completely off-center, you might be holding onto something worth a significant amount of money. If you find a coin with a noticeable error, it's a good idea to get it professionally graded by a reputable service. They will verify the coin's authenticity, assign it a grade, and help determine its value. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's also an investment. Rare and error coins, like the 1987 D off-center quarter, have become highly sought after by collectors and investors alike. Over the years, rare coins have appreciated significantly in value. Collectors are constantly searching for that next big find, whether it's an error coin, a limited edition, or a coin with historical significance. And as we've seen with the 1987 D quarter, some of these coins can fetch incredible amounts at auction. If you're looking to invest in coins, error coins are a great place to start. With proper care and grading, they can increase in value over time, just like any other asset. There you have it. The incredible story of the 1987 D quarter, an off-center strike error coin that went from being worth just 25 cents to an astounding $85 million. It just goes to show that sometimes, the most ordinary coins can turn into extraordinary treasures. If you enjoyed learning about this amazing coin and want to see more exciting stories from the world of numismatics, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Who knows, your next quarter might be worth millions.